Hey fellow cosplayers, Just Be Cosplay here, and this video is about introduction to cosplay. Whether you're really good at it, whether you've never even heard of it, and you don't even know where to start, this video is for you. We are going to go through a tutorial to do a Diablo 3 Crusader costume, and I have actually already started, and I'm going to restart for you guys. So, this is what I've made so far, and I'm gonna go back and redo everything, like part one to part done, I guess. So I started here with the chest piece, and I actually really like it. I'm very happy with it. There's a lot of things that I'm gonna do differently, just because, you know, when you do it the second time, you always figure out what's better. So, and I'm gonna teach you guys how to do this through the whole set. So I already started with our new one, and this tutorial that I'm doing today is about the gray part here, not any of the details, which is the color part. I tried to color coordinate so that it's easier to see, but just the gray part here is what we're gonna be doing, and it's just putting your form together so that it fits you perfectly, and I'm gonna baby step this so that everyone can follow along. And I've actually been doing cosplay for 5 years. My first 4 costumes were barbarians and druids, because I play World of Warcraft. So I did a lot of druid costume because that was my tune, that was my character. And so this year I wanted to do something a little different with craft foam, because I saw how amazing craft foam can really turn out to be. It can look like anything you can dream. So we're gonna make the whole armor set. And the reason I'm doing this is because people always ask me when they find out I can cosplay, or when I'm at the Renaissance, they stop me and they'll ask me, how in the world do you do this? How in the world do I get started? Was that really expensive? Is that really hard? And the answer is no. It's very easy, it's very cheap, as long as you're clever. If you can be slick, it can be really cheap and very affordable. And I just thought I would make some videos so I can send people here and send my friends here and send my family here, because everyone loves cosplay, the idea of cosplay. And so this is what I want to do. So what you need to get started is you need a utility knife, and a very basic one. You don't have to get anything super fancy. You can get these anywhere. I have a kind of a nicer one because my husband uses all these tools, so he got me a nicer one. Just as long as you have a sharp blade, that's the key. Keep your blades sharp, keep blades on hand, or keep a sharpener on hand, because though it's craft foam, this thing gets dull like you wouldn't believe. And having a dull knife pulls your foam and it causes ripples in your foam, and it's terrible. It should be like butter. So if it's not, you need a new blade. You need a Sharpie or a pin, whatever. You need some scissors, and specifically trash scissors. Don't use any kind of nice fabric scissors, because they will be completely ruined. Barge, when you cut through it, or when you cut through anything that has barge on it, it can stick to your scissors, and your scissors get stuck together, they're trash. So get your trash scissors. And for those ladies out there, you need something that fits about your size. And so this, for me, is an ornament from Hobby Lobby, a Christmas ornament. And I just took the other half off, and it is perfect. So fits right in there. Our most expensive item, I think, here is barge. You need barge because it is the best contact cement out there. It's super friendly with foam, and it's a little expensive, but I'm telling you, it goes a very long way. For me, I like to have this bottle here to put it in. That way, I can just apply this stuff however I need it to go, and then rub it in with the foam. I mean, it's very easy to have this instead of dealing with that can. It's difficult. Plastic wrap in any kitchen, usually. Pretty cheap stuff to get to. This is for your form, and you'll see that. You'll need masking tape or frog tape if you have it. Just any kind of tape works. Duct tape works too. It's a little more expensive, but this is cheap and easy. Then you need yourself a heating gun. Now my husband bought me a heating gun that can burn down the whole house in 5 seconds. You don't really need that, but thank you anyway, sweetie. You just need something like this. This is $5 or $6 from Hobby Lobby, and it just gets hot, hotter than a hair dryer for sure. So that question out there, can I use a hair dryer? I don't think you can. I think with your foam, if you had really, really thin foam, you could use it, but the thick foam we're using, it doesn't melt it, or it doesn't get it hot enough to form. So you gotta go get yourself a heat gun that's just hot enough. You need yourself a Dremel. And I got this from Home Depot, and it's the smallest one that they offer. The bigger one, it's a little bit overkill. It's kind of hard to use when you're using it on foam. You actually kind of gouge your foam. So this is the best thing for you. It's not too powerful, and it's super user-friendly, and it fits in your hand perfectly. So this is your best bet. Then, a good straight edge. This is what I sew with, but it works great too. Any craft store sells this. And for your utility knife and you're cutting a foam, you need a self-healing mat. These are pretty cheap. If you can find them on sale, use a coupon, you can get yourself one. But they're awesome because you don't really want to damage your desk. And finally, you need your foam. And this is the trickiest part, I guess, to find because you gotta be clever or it can be expensive. So I got this at Home Goods and I paid, I think, $15 for a pack of these. And the key is you gotta look on the back and make sure it's flat. Has to be flat or else you're gonna have a textured surface. If that's not what you're looking for, it's gonna be really, really not what you want. It's gonna look weird. Or if you are slick, you can go onto Craigslist and find some of these guys use and pick them up. Just clean them up and turn them over and cutting it in. But that's if you're lucky enough. I can't find them on Craigslist, but they're cheap enough, so I go ahead and buy them. Let's get started on this tutorial. Like I said, we're gonna be doing the gray part, and the details are gonna come next. So in our next video, we're gonna be doing these colored parts, which is our details. So just for now, we're gonna be doing this gray part, which is just the base and it fits you perfectly. So let's get started. All right, guys, let's grab our plastic wrap and begin to wrap all around your torso until you cover everything that you need to cover with your specific armor. And just wrap and wrap. Now we need our masking tape to just cover that up. This will solidify our plastic wrap and give us something to cut and draw into. Make sure it's not too tight, because I don't know about you guys, but I like to eat when I go to the Renaissance. All right, next we're gonna draw on with our Sharpie or pen the shape that you want your torso to look like. And this is so much easier with a mirror. I somehow did it without a mirror, but if you have the picture of what you want in front of you and a mirror, you really can't go wrong. I think the hardest part is probably the symmetry here, because you don't want it to look all cattywampus. Okay, now very, very carefully, shouldn't have worn my favorite shirt, cut right up the middle. This is so much easier with a friend, by the way. Maybe you should get a friend. Okay, now we got it. Now we're going to just cut out the pieces that we don't want. And here I'm just cutting the wings out for the sides. This is kind of an approximation. You can always change it later. And now we're gonna break this thing up into a few pieces so that we can get a good cut on them. I cut out 2 cups, the bottom part, and the 2 wings, and it seems to work great. And just cut those guys out. I also label them because I never know if I'm gonna lose a piece or not. Okay, now we have our pieces. Here I'm taking the cup and making marks so that I can cut it and it will form more of a dome shape instead of a flat piece trying to bend it, because it just doesn't work if you heat it up and try to form it that way. You need these marks and eventually these cuts to get this thing into a perfect dome. Next, we're going to trace this thing onto our craft foam. Once my pen works. It's okay if your tracing isn't perfect, as long as you go back and fix it once you do pull your mold back up. So now I take this time to make sure that it's all rounded and nice shaped and no weird jagged edges or anything like that. Now for our side piece. It's always smart to leave a little bit extra because this stuff doesn't fit quite like your form does. You need a little bit extra room. Because you can always cut off, but you can't really put on as easily, right? So here what I'm doing is I'm actually cutting this in half so that I can use the right side twice, just flipping it over, using it for the left. It'll be perfectly symmetrical and I will be happy. Now I just clean it up like I've cleaned up everything else. And I flip it over and do the same to the other side. And so sorry I'm in the way. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys, you want to extend this a little bit longer. I did make an error and I had to add on to it later. This is too short you want yours to look more like this, more like an arrow at the bottom, because you do want that dramatic effect at the bottom. So just go ahead and extend that, and don't do what I just did, and don't cut out what I'm cutting out. Just add your arrow part, the bottom part, and continue to cut the same way, and I will fix this later in my video. So carefully use your utility knife that hopefully is sharp, and just start cutting. If your knife starts gathering the foam, that means it's too dull. So instead of cutting out my left side, I'm actually going to turn my right side over and just completely mirror that, because I really want symmetry here. And I'm going to do the same thing for the side piece too. When I first made my costume, it was pretty symmetrical, but it could have been better. So here I'm just going to completely mirror one side. And I'm labeling it here so I don't lose it. Remember here, add a little bit extra. You can always take off, but you can't really add on as easy. Yay! So we have everything cut out. In the next video, we're going to start heating and forming our foam.